Imagine your marriage or love relationship like Central Park. Ah yes, the verdant oasis in the concrete jungle of New York City where lovebirds flock for boat rides, couples snuggle under blankets during outdoor concerts, and wedding proposals unfold under starlit skies. It's tranquil, scenic, and the pride of Manhattan. Everything seems perfect. But when you think you're in your rom-com finale, a rat scurries in, nibbling on your picnic sandwiches, and suddenly your peaceful marriage, park is thrown into chaos. That rat, my friends, represents the unwelcome introduction of affairs into your marital sanctuary. Affairs, you might gasp. Cheating. In my perfect Central Park matrimony, it's more likely than you think. I've spent years as a seasoned marriage therapist in New York City, guiding couples through the treacherous landscape of betrayal, infidelity, and trust issues. I've got tales that could fill a Woody Allen film, or maybe even a mini-series. What I've found is that the reason people cheat isn't always as straightforward as ordering a New York slice at 2 a.m. No, the reasons for affairs are often as complicated as the MTA subway map. Understanding the types of affairs that sneak into marriages like a subway rat searching for a dropped hot dog is the first step in addressing the ensuing trust issues. It's like knowing your enemy, except here, the enemy isn't always external. Sometimes the enemy shares your Netflix account and argues over your TV show choices. In the hustle and bustle of the Big Apple, you'd be surprised how many couples fall into the traps of relationship-driven affairs, compulsive affairs, and escape affairs. Need to familiarize yourself with these terms? Don't worry, we're not talking Wall Street jargon here. They're like the genres of the off-Broadway plays of betrayal. Each comes with motivations, scripts, and sometimes overly dramatic performers. I will do some sleuthing like a detective in a film noir set against the backdrop of a sultry New York City night to uncover the most common themes that drive affairs in marriages and love relationships. We'll unravel the intricacies of these three types of affairs. And trust me, your jaw might drop lower than when you found out your neighbor pays less rent for a bigger apartment. Is the emotional tension in your relationship causing your partner to seek new adventures as if they're an astronaut searching for uncharted galaxies? Could your spouse be grappling with a sense of emotional missing out that no social media validation can fulfill? Or are they attempting a transformative leap, as if they're a superhero movie character aiming for a different life altogether? I'll explore all these scenarios and more. Affairs, cheating, infidelity, betrayal, trust issues. The terms might as well be the infamous I Heart NY t-shirts, overexposed yet undeniable in their impact. An affair can shake the roots of your Central Park love story. But remember, even Central Park survived the 1970s and came out stronger and more resilient than ever. So grab your metaphorical flashlights and put on your detective hats, because we're about to investigate the ratatouille-like underworld of relationship-driven, compulsive, and escape affairs that can sneak into your marriage faster than a New Yorker dodging a puddle in Times Square. Part 1. Relationship-driven affairs. When your Central Park becomes a lonely island. Remember the Central Park metaphor now. Imagine it's suddenly less crowded. The paddle boats are empty, the benches devoid of snuggling couples, and it feels like your partner is a million miles away, maybe vacationing on a lonely island. In this case, the island is your relationship, and your spouse has emotionally checked out, leaving you yearning for connection. Now let's get down to business. Relationship-driven affairs are the classic textbook affairs that most people envision. You might think they're as straightforward as a bagel with cream cheese, but you haven't seen the range of toppings yet. Here's how these affairs slither into marriages like a cunning Broadway producer finds loopholes in contracts, reacting to emotional or physical distance. The agony of feeling like a ghost in your own home. When emotional or physical distance sets in, it can seem like your spouse is as unavailable as a ticket to a hit Broadway show. The yearning for intimacy becomes so desperate that people search for other audience members who appreciate their life's performance. And voila, the affair becomes an unexpected understudy, temporarily stealing the limelight. Feeling deprived of intimacy. This one hits like a delayed subway when you're running late. Unmet needs, sexual or emotional, are like Manhattan potholes that can wreck the wheels of your love life. Instead of repairing the potholes, one partner might seek another route for fulfillment. They may feel starved for affection, understanding, or even just conversation. And an affair begins to look like that forbidden hot dog stand you go to when your diet gets too mundane. Vengeance affairs are revenge, a dish best served cold just like a New York winter. When one partner feels as wronged as a cyclist in Times Square, they might want their spouse to experience the same chill. Hence, the vengeance affair is born out of resentment and frustration, with the adulterer thinking, "If I can't have peace, neither can you. Come and get me affairs." It's like leaving your partner at the Central Park Zoo and saying, "If you love me, you'll find me amidst the penguins and lemurs." This kind of affair is a desperate bid to reignite the dwindling fire in the relationship. The partner strays, hoping it will make their spouse sit up, take notice, and come running back like a dog chasing a frisbee. Ironically, the affair here is a weird love letter written in invisible ink that can only be seen under the light of jealousy. Coping with relationship problems. Let's call this the escape room affair. Instead of solving the puzzles and challenges as a team, one person decides it's easier to find another escape room or partner entirely. It's a workaround for those who aren't fans of confrontation or communication. The elusive art of adulting. The common thread weaved into all these relationship-driven affairs is the looming spectre of relationship distress. You might think stepping out is easier than stepping up to tackle issues. In these cases, the affair serves as a quick-fix band-aid for a wound requiring stitches. It's like substituting a vegan hot dog for a Nathan's Famous. Sure, it fills the void, but it lacks the authenticity and satisfaction of the real deal. And that, my friends, is how your Central Park of love can suddenly feel like a lonely island. Our next stop is compulsive affairs. Here I'll peel back the layers of the mind to explore common schemas and modes. Think of them as the mental scripts and roles that might be directing your affair saga from behind the curtain. Understanding these psychological frameworks is your VIP ticket to making sense of your relationship's knotty web. Part 2, Compulsive Affairs, when the subway of your mind goes off the rails. All aboard the Compulsion Express. If relationship-driven affairs are the Staten Island ferry, functional but kinda plain, compulsive affairs are more like the New York subway system, unpredictable, sometimes grimy, and on the worst days, sometimes leading you to question your life choices, especially when a rat named Bob is involved. Attachment anxiety, the please swipe again affair. First stop, the defectiveness schema. It's that niggling thought that you're not enough, potentially leading to a full-blown fear of abandonment. To counteract this defectiveness and avoid being left in the dust, the approval-seeking schema kicks in. Imagine repeatedly swiping your Metro card, each "please swipe again" message chipping away at your soul. These folks may find themselves in multiple stations, relationships, just trying to hear that validating ding sexual addiction, the midnight train to nowhere. Here comes the detached self-stimulating mode, possibly fueled by either the entitlement schema or the emotional deprivation schema. It's like being trapped in an eternal loop, akin to a train with no terminus, driven by an insatiable desire for thrills, but offering zero emotional satisfaction. Picture riding an endless subway with a playlist full of party anthems that never truly fulfill you. Narcissism validation seeking the selfie stick parade. Let's get into the self-aggrandizer mode. These people aren't just riding the subway, they think they own it. Picture a tourist not just taking selfies, but demanding everyone else to take photos of them. They live for the spotlight, and their affairs are just another stage for their one-person show. Control and power motives. The puppeteer of the subway enter the over-controller mode. Imagine someone who sees the subway system as a giant game board, each train a piece to be moved at their whim. Their affairs are notches on their mental control panel, an affirmation of their mastery over the chaos that is New York's subway system. Filling inner emptiness, the black hole of Times Square. Finally, the emotional deprivation schema takes the cake, particularly spiced up by emotional demandingness. It's like standing in the middle of Times Square and feeling a gaping void that all the neon lights and Broadway billboards can't fill. People like this turn to affairs as a desperate quest to fill an insatiable emotional vacuum, akin to eating 10 New York cheesecakes and still feeling famished. The twisted tunnels of compulsive affairs brought to life by schemas and modes that make your internal world a labyrinth more complicated than the subway system at rush hour. Unlike relationship-driven affairs focusing on us, these are the self-centered headliners, solo acts featuring your inner demons. But wait, we're not at the end of the line yet. Next, I'll dive into escape affairs when the comforting quilt of your current relationship isn't cozy enough, and you find yourself craving a different kind of warmth. Trust me, you'll want to stick around for this. It's like discovering the secret recipe for the perfect New York bagel. highly sought after, rarely revealed. Part 3. Escape affairs. When your emotional subway finds a secret tunnel. Ever felt like the New York subway was too much and considered escaping to a tranquil upstate cabin? That's what escape affairs are like. A temporary getaway from the emotional subway your marriage has become. But be warned, the grass isn't always greener in the Catskills, especially if you're still lugging around the same old baggage. The protector modes. Emotional shields up in escape affairs. Think of protector modes as the emergency exits of your emotional subway. They're meant to shield you from hurt, even if it means leading you away from your spouse and into someone else's arms. These modes might include the avoidant protector, which convinces you to dodge intimacy, or the angry protector, which encourages you to express your frustrations in another relationship where you feel heard. Emotional deprivation, the never-ending thirst. It's like being on a train with a broken water fountain. No matter how much you push the button, no water comes out. The emotional deprivation schema joins the ride and you're parched. You might hop off at another station, convinced that another person can quench your thirst, even if it's just for a moment. Unrelenting standards, the perfectionist's dilemma. Think of this as the constant nagging need to keep the subway car sparkling clean and on time to the millisecond. A partner operating on this schema may find fault in a less than perfect spouse and seek someone who aligns more closely with their rigid standards. In their mind, they're upgrading from a rattling C train to a sleek new express model, all while failing to realize that every train has its delays. Entitlement, the first-class ticket fantasy. The entitlement schema makes you think you deserve a first-class ticket, even when you've only paid for standard fare. Maybe you believe you're meant for something or someone better, and so you seek an affair as a free upgrade without considering the cost. The punitive parent mode, emotional self-sabotage. Have you ever felt like you don't deserve happiness? Enter the punitive parent mode, which operates like a train conductor, announcing your flaws over the loudspeaker. For some, an affair can become a form of self-punishment, proving their inner critic right when things eventually derail. The vengeful child mode. Tit-for-tat affairs. The vengeful child mode is that immature impulse we've all felt. Someone pushes you and you want to push back. In the realm of escape affairs, this might manifest as a reactive affair, often following a betrayal by the spouse. It's like retaliating against a fare hike by hopping the turnstile, though you risk getting caught and facing the consequences. Hold on to your Metro cards because we're ending our bumpy ride through the labyrinthine world of infidelity. But remember, it's never too late to reroute, whether you're caught in a web of relationship-driven affairs, entangled in the mess of compulsive affairs, or contemplating an escape affair. The last stop on our journey through the complex subway of infidelity. You've survived the harrowing roller coaster through the world of affairs, from the emotionally charged stations of relationship-driven affairs, to the grimy tunnels of compulsive affairs, and finally to the seemingly tranquil but equally perilous hideaways of escape affairs. Suppose you've ever thought your relationship was unique in its complications. In that case, hopefully this tour has shown you that infidelity is a complex interplay of schemas, modes, and human quirks that plague even the best of us. In this intricate labyrinth, the real villain often isn't just deceit or betrayal. The underlying psychological schemas and modes drive us toward these behaviors. From the defectiveness schema that can instigate a fear of abandonment, to the detached, self-stimulating mode that drives emotional isolation, our inner landscapes are teeming with psychological actors pushing and pulling us in all directions. It's not just about bad decisions or moral failures. It's about a complex psychological infrastructure that often needs more than just a quick patch-up job. What's the way out of this perplexing maze? How do we reroute a derailed relationship? The answer often lies in effective, empirically based couples therapy. While self-help books and internet advice columns can offer some respite, navigating the complex schemas and modes that fuel affairs requires professional guidance. That's why we recommend Loving at Your Best Marriage and Couples Counseling. Their Loving at Your Best plan incorporates top-tier evidence-based therapeutic approaches, including Gottman Method Couples Therapy, emotionally focused therapy, schema therapy, and cognitive behavioral therapy. Chronic and traumatizing issues like infidelity aren't something you have to navigate alone, nor should you. An experienced therapist can provide the tools and strategies to tackle the symptoms and root causes of the affairs, setting you on a path toward recovery and relational well-being. Don't settle for surface-level solutions if you are embroiled in the knotty web of infidelity. Dig deeper, address the schemas and modes that compel you toward betrayal, and seek expert help to guide you through the complexities. A successful relationship doesn't just require love, it demands understanding, effort, and a commitment to doing the hard but necessary work of healing and growth. Trust me, you don't have to navigate this labyrinthine subway system of relational challenges alone. With the right guidance and commitment, you can reroute your relationship toward a destination brimming with love, trust, and true connection. So here's your moment. Stand clear of the closing doors, please. It's high time to jump in before the doors slam shut, ensuring you're on the express train to a brighter, more loving future. So there you have it. Navigating the intricate subway of infidelity can be as tricky as finding your way through the New York subway system during rush hour. But fear not, because we've got just the solution for you: compassionate, expert professional help. Let me introduce our incredible Loving at Your Best marriage and couples counseling team. They're like relationship superheroes. Let's kick things off with Travis Atkinson, our therapeutic dynamo. Travis has been in the couples therapy game for close to 30 years. And trust me, he's the Yoda of relationship wizards. He's not just a Schema Therapy certified expert, he's also certified as a master in emotionally focused therapy and certified as a Gottman Method Couples Therapy. And oh yeah, he's the brains behind the Loving at Your Best plan. Next, we have our senior clinician, Paul Chiariello, aka the Relationship Whisperer. He's got more tricks up his sleeve than a magician at a kid's birthday party. Tiffany Goldberg is the strength seeker. She's like a detective of the heart, helping you find those productive thoughts and behaviors faster than Sherlock Holmes. And last but not least, John Prezant, our relationship and sex therapy maestro. His approach is like a finely tuned symphony, always harmonizing with your needs. Navigating the relationship subway might seem daunting, but you don't have to do it alone. With our experts by your side, you're on the express train to healing, growth, and a renewed sense of connection. Don't stand on the platform, wondering which train to take. Hop on board with us and explore the boundless possibilities of your relationship.